extremes.
I just might add there, you know, President Obama's debate, or his speech at Notre Dame, and on the issue of abortion. And he said, you know, Americans will always disagree on this. There will be two sides, and both sides will be fervently arguing their position. But we should change the tone. We should not call each other names or caricatures. And I think that's what has to happen across the board here, that in America we will disagree. And each of us will argue our own sides. But how we argue that side in the tone of the debate is what either builds a culture of hate and intimidation and harassment or builds a culture of debate. And I think what we have seen is that the right, the extreme right, and many in the media, have built the culture in the tone of a debate. I don't mind a good debate. I'll debate. But when you start calling names, when you harass, when you intimidate, when you impose violence, that's when I think this country is on the wrong track. And I think the president was right. Change the tone. You're not always going to agree, but you can change the tone, and that's what we're calling for the other side to do in the case of abortion.
Yeah, and I just, my co-panelists have said, I think that that we're at a point in politics where the American people are clearly, they're just sick of it, of all of the negativity in politics. One by one by one, the wedge issues have proven to be absolute flops in recent times. So in 20 out of 22 competitive congressional races this last cycle, where there was a hardline anti-immigrant member of Congress or candidate on the ballot, the hardliner lost. But these voices of intolerance and this overheated rhetoric, what it does is it appears in extremist acts, and it appears in an overwhelming flood of communications to Congress, which then intimidates them into action or inaction on legislation. And overall, what we've seen, because it's not sticking with voters in elections across the country, is a real isolation of the Republican Party. I mean, some have really called this this Southern strategy that is resurgent as their wins are shrinking. They're becoming more and more extreme, because there's not any space for moderation. There's not any space for a rational debate on the facts or on a values frame even that is inviting to more and more people. So we're seeing this drive towards the Southern strategy that has it's been losing elections year after year after year. And this event that's happening this weekend, I mean, their theme is building a new American majority. I mean, it might be the strategy session for driving the GOP over a cliff. I mean, they're just, it's not sticking and it's not working. But where it is in terms of the majority of voters, but where it is appearing is in a rise in hate, in a rise in these acts of violence, whether it's against folks who provide abortion services, whether it's against African Americans, whether it's against Latinos, whether it's against Jews, whether it's against gays. And where it shows up is in this hyper-heated context to Congress, which, I mean, I gotta say, these are the folks who block S-chip by saying that illegal kids are gonna get this. These are the folks who block education reform by saying the illegals are going to get a textbook. These are the folks that block a host of legislation that the majority of the American people want. But because of this superheated rhetoric, they're able to be pretty effective at intimidating members of Congress into inaction.
Thank you. On behalf of Media Matters, I want to thank all our panelists for coming today. If folks have other questions, you might be able to ask one-on-one. It's an important conversation, one we're going to continue to have, certainly in Media Matters and throughout the progressive movement. Thanks.